There are a lot of good games this year. 2023 has just been an amazing year for video games. And Final Fantasy XVI was no exception. It's going to be a tough competition for every category at the Game Awards this year, but that's a story for another day. Welcome to my review of Final Fantasy XVI. If you just want the most basic review possible, here it is. It was fantastic. Highly recommended. This isn't going to be super structured or scripted like my Tears of the Kingdom review, which I wrote an entire script for. Instead, I just have some notes here about things I want to talk about, and everything I say will just come from the top of my head. As always, I'll be splitting this into non-spoiler section and spoiler section, where I will talk about the same thing, but with spoilers, right? So first up, the story. The story was good, as expected, from Creative Business Unit 3. If you know me, I'm a big fan of Final Fantasy XIV, and you see a lot of the same kind of storytelling that's present in that game, in this game, and as you'd expect, it's good. No real big complaints there. The ending was kind of both a hit and a miss for me at the same time. I'll explain more on that in the spoiler section though. One thing that I see a lot of people saying is that, oh, the side quests aren't good at all. And I'm just like, what the hell are you smoking? The side quests are amazing. Maybe I'm biased because I went into the game already liking Creative Business Unit 3 and their storytelling formula. But here's the thing, I don't do any side quests in Final Fantasy XIV unless they're related to, you know, specific types of content like job quests, raid quests. I don't do anything that is just bonus for fun. And that's kind of what these are, right? You get some unlocks from some of them, but a lot of them are just there to be there. But I think that they enhance the story. They give you information that you otherwise wouldn't get. They give you a new perspective on things. And the writing in some of these is incredible. So many side quests are memorable. In fact, some of the side quests are more memorable than the main quest, to be honest. I did 100% the game. I didn't play through it again to get the Ultima weapon, but I did 100% it on my first playthrough. I did every side quest, I did every hunt. I got the best weapon you can get without replaying the game, without doing New Game Plus. And so I can say for a fact that the side quests are well worth doing. If you find them to be underwhelming and you just want to get on with the main quest, that's perfectly fine. But I think you'd be doing yourself a disservice to not at least give them a shot. Some of the earlier ones are not as good as the later ones. Some of the early ones give you great payoff for later ones though. So, you know, with that in mind, I do think that they're worth doing, but that's just me. That's just me. Now about the gameplay, it's fun, but it's not gonna be, you're not gonna be like comparing this to like Devil May Cry and saying that it's just as good as Devil May Cry 5 or something. Even though I think that the guy who handled the Devil May Cry combat handled this combat. You can see a lot of the influences there, but Devil May Cry is more focused on the combat than this, so it's better in that than this, but I still think it's quite fun. Like, one of the most annoying things that I ever saw was people claiming that you just mash square and that's how you play the game and you can win that way. Like, yeah, maybe in the tutorial, maybe in the prologue, but that's not how it's not gonna go well for you later on at all. And like, if you have, you know, the cheat accessories that they give you specifically for people who are bad at action games, then yeah, maybe you can just mash square. But those are there for people who don't care about the combat, right? If you care about the combat, you're not going to be using them. You're going to be using, you know, accessories that make your combat more fun, right? Make you do more damage, stuff like that. You're not going to be using accessories that play the game for you if that's something you care about. But yeah, I enjoyed the combat well enough. Definitely not the best combat I've ever seen, but it was still fun, and it worked for the kind of game that this is. Now, a quick little thing about the characters. Main character Clive, I think he is quite good. There were several other good characters as well. A lot of the characters in the side quests are really good. My one issue, and I don't know if this is spoilers or not, so forgive me. My biggest complaint with the characters was that the main female lead, Jill, is pretty underwhelming. I'll go into more detail in the spoiler section. Speaking of, we're going into the spoiler section now. If you want my spoiler-free conclusion, it's that the game is good. There's some minor issues with it, but overall, I give it like a 9 out of 10. Amazing game. My biggest complaint is that it's PS5 exclusive right now, but they are making the PC version. Square Enix is crying about the sales, even though it was like the best-selling PS5 game. Maybe Square Enix, you should release it on more than the PS5 that no one has, because there's no games for it. If you want your sales to be up, since you care about sales so much, stupid Square Enix. Anyway, into the spoilers we go. So the story, like I said, is good. I like how the story plays out. Clive, you know, spends so many years in service to these people that basically ruined his life. But then he finds Jill again and he rekindles that relationship. And then it just kind of leads him to Sid. And then the very beginning, he's really focused on his brother and how he killed his brother. And the first part of the game is him struggling with that and coming to terms with it. And I think that was done really well. But of course, his brother is not dead, as he later finds out. But when he discovers that his brother is alive, is at the same time where Sid dies. So while he regains the hope that his brother is alive, he also loses a very close friend. Quite sad. And the story is kind of this tale of how the bearers are prosecuted and trying to help them out. And a lot of the side quests focus on that, and I think some of the side quests are really, really good at focusing on that and really delving deep into the darker themes that come with that. Like that one side quest, I still remember that side quest where that girl's like, I'm missing my whatever. She gives like a pet name. I'm missing, I don't know where to find blah blah blah. I forget the name. And then Clive thinks, oh, that must mean a dog. That's like a dog name. And then he's looking for the dog and then he finds a dead bear. And the child's like, oh no, there she is. Oh, well, she's dead. I guess I gotta get a new one. And it's like, Jesus Christ. It's disturbing. But anyway, then there's also the story of the mother crystals and how they're destroying the world. And so your like main focus is going to each mother crystal and destroying them. All the while you're fighting the other dominants and stealing their power. The Bahamut fight was just amazing. It was the best thing I've ever seen in my life, I think. And then Clive finally reunites with his brother at long last. And Jill was there too, by the way. The story with Dion was really good and well told. Clive's uncle is fantastic. Fantastically written. Such a good character. So funny. So endearing. All that good stuff. And then when you get to the ending, things are like, it's still good, but it kind of devolves into the generic JRPG trope where you're just going to kill God, basically. Like, yeah, Ultima was, you know, there throughout the entire game, so at least you have some build up to this fight. Unlike a game like Persona 4, where you find the killer of the murders that you have been hunting down for the whole game. And then out of nowhere, a god shows up, and then it's like, well, time to kill God, I guess. Like, that's how every Persona game ends, basically. Like, you finally fight the main villain that you've been chasing throughout the whole game, but then, well, now we gotta go kill God, too. But yeah, so that was a little disappointing, to be honest. But, you know, so that aspect of the ending was like, yeah, whatever. But I really do like Clive's sacrifice at the end there. It was sad. It made me really, really sad, actually. Full of tears and sadness. But then at the very end, you see a flash forward to, I don't know how long, hundreds of years, thousands of years, who knows. And Joshua had written a book called Final Fantasy. And that world that Clive fought so hard for finally came true. And, you know, that brought a tear to my eye as well. So anyway, the story overall was very good. Ending was whatever, kind of generic, but also, you know, pretty good conclusion to Clive's character, I think. And of course, the side quests were all amazing. Now, the gameplay, there's not much I can talk about the gameplay that I didn't already talk about. I mean, what more is there to say? The icon fights were fantastic. The Titan fight was amazing. I especially love the part where you're falling and then you're beating him up. That part was awesome. The Bahamut fight was just the best thing ever. Flying into space. I'm like, holy shit, this is crazy. I do have one complaint. I see a lot of people who say the Odin fight was underwhelming. I didn't think the Odin fight was underwhelming, but what I did find underwhelming, and this is a controversial take, perhaps, I found the Odin power very underwhelming. all of Odin's abilities revolve around building up your what's it called, Zanketsuken or something, the Zanketsuken gauge, and then releasing that ability, which I just find very boring way to play the game. Click B and make your main weapon do like no damage. Use these abilities that do like no damage, and then you get to use a cool looking ability that takes forever to build up. It's like, I guess it's cool. Like, the ability itself is cool. I just wish the way you built up to it was better. It's because, like, the abilities, the other abilities do so little damage. Every ability of his does so little damage. It's all just about building up that gauge so you can do one cool ability. But I already have several other cool abilities that do a shit ton of damage already. So it's like, I just like didn't use it really. I just went back to my, you know, this thing I was using before, which was, what was it? I don't remember. So yeah, I found it a little underwhelming, but I mean, maybe it's meta, I don't know. I didn't find it funner to use than what I was already using, basically. Giga Flare is awesome, by the way. So now onto the characters. Like I said, Clive is very good. His story ends in a really great way. Joshua was also very good. I liked Joshua a lot. Gav is very good as well. And if you do the side quests, you get to see, like, you get to wrap up these characters in a really satisfying way. Jill, I just found pretty underwhelming. She doesn't really have much stakes in this. She's just kind of helping Clive out because she likes him. She has like one plot point where she goes to kill the people who basically enslaved her, and that was it. And that was really early in the game too. So yeah, I just found her a bit underwhelming. Sid, I thought was very good. His death has an actual impact on the story and on the characters, and even though he's dead, you can still feel his presence throughout the world through these other characters and all that. Clive's mom, she just kind of sucks. She's just evil. Who cares? Dion, pretty good. He's pretty gay as well. Which was nice to see. It's nice to see, you know, a gay character whose like personality doesn't revolve around them being gay. It's just like a thing that is there, right? So that was good. He's a very good character. He had death flags, so when he died, I was like, well, I'm not surprised. I did not expect Clive to die, though. That was surprising, and made me sad. A lot of side quest characters, like Quentin, are very good as well. I enjoyed them. And that one guy, what was his name? I'll put it up on the screen now. He was very good. When you do the side quest where it's like, oh, he's a bearer, and then the city's like, we hate him, but then like the kids come to defend him. I thought that was very good. And then they learn to look past the fact that he's a bearer, and see the man behind the magic. I don't know what I'm saying. You know what I mean, though. And there's a ton of characters. All of them are pretty well written and good. The only one that I was underwhelmed by was Jill, because she's the main female lead and she was just whatever. Like, honestly, Mid might be better than her, to be honest. And that's a shame. A real shame. All the dominants were pretty good, of course. The King Barnabas, whatever his name was, Odin, he was very good as well. Kind of weird, but, you know, he was cool. Maybe I'll put a character tier list on the screen now if I can find a good list on Tier Maker, so you can look at that. Anyway, I think that's about it. The ending brought a tear to my eye, and I was left satisfied. I 100%ed the game, and I don't regret a second of it. I didn't want to make this review as long as my Tears of the Kingdom review, and I have only been talking for 28 minutes, so I guess it won't be. Anyway, it was an enjoyable game. A lot of people say, oh, it's a good game, but it's not a good Final Fantasy game. It's like, shut up. It's Final Fantasy through and through, story, ending. It's Final Fantasy. You can't fool me. And people like complain because they don't like the combat. Like, I don't know what to tell you, man. Like, I like turn-based combat, don't get me wrong. And even I can say objectively that it's not exciting. I mean, overall, I like it personally. I enjoy turn-based combat. I would happily play a turn-based combat game, and if that's what you want, go play an old Final Fantasy, bro. Go play Dragon Quest. I personally enjoy that they did something new, and tried something new. Maybe Final Fantasy 17 will go back to the turn-based style. But yeah, I enjoyed it. Very good. Give it a 9 out of 10. A lot of games this year I'm giving 9s out of 10s to. This year's loaded. I'm gonna do a video at the end of this year like I did last year where I talk about my favorite games of the year. So I hope you look forward to that. There's gonna be a lot of games on that list. I think a lot of games are still not even out yet that are exciting, like Super Mario Wonder, Super Mario RPG remake. Can't wait to see it. Anyway, thanks for watching. I'll see you again soon. And as always, have a good one and goodbye.